So I'm at the combine. Yeah, I gotta do a little thing here. I've got my microphone on, and people complain about this camera. The camera has a gimbal, and it's a thumb control. And if I touch that by accident, which happens more often than not, I guess, it, smells like a freaking banana and mothballs in here. It will give you, and the reason it smells like a banana is because of my son William. He only eats half the damn things, but anyways, with that being said, it don't matter because he's my boy and I love him very much. Now what I'm looking for is this box of fuses, and I'm going to tell you what my problem is as soon as I'm going to leave that door open because it smells like mothballs and bananas in there, and I just don't want to deal with mothballs and bananas. Now, if you've been watching this shit show for a while, I call it a shit show, but if you've been watching this shit show for a while, you'll know that I've had some problems with, hold on, let me adjust my gimbal, you fuckers. You'll know that, that I've been kind of having problems with the 24 volt system on this machine. Now, I know there's guys that run New Holland, and I know there's guys that run John Deere, and the New Holland guys are like, oh yeah, that system's a pain in the ass. And the guys that run the John Deere are like, sell that piece of shit New Holland and buy a John Deere. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not about to do that. So what I have, and I'm going to drag you along as I do this because we're going to find out if this is actually the problem or not. So about 6 months ago, I had Grant, I'm going to flip you around, I had Grant work on this switch, right? This switch here. It was somebody, whoever had it, this combine before me, had taken the switch apart and or had bypassed the switch. They just moved everything from one side to the other. And we have a negative. I know this is the problem. I'm looking at it right now and I know this is the problem because this is a 24 volt system and it only uses the 24 volts when it runs the starter and the dosing control unit. Okay? Well, he took that switch apart and then we had all kinds of trouble to get this thing to start, and it wouldn't start. It just flat out would not start. It wasn't gonna happen. It would not. It wouldn't. And I had like 4,500 different error codes. And of those 4,500 different error codes, I would blow a fuse. I don't know why that shut off, but it did. So it blows this fuse. I'm going to show you where it is. This fuse box is not listed in the operator's manual. It's just not. But this fuse here, when you turn the key or the power to it, pow, it pops. And it has popped ever since I finally figured out what the problem or the way that thing was supposed to be hooked up to produce 24 volts to run the starter. So, yeah. So it's really an effed up system. I'm going to try not to curse about it because I was pretty upset. The alternator constantly charges this battery. There's another battery tucked under here, right here, and it's hooked up. I've got it hooked up. Yesterday, I took the battery from the top and I put it on the bottom and put the bottom one on the top because if the battery on the top is, how does that go? It won't charge the battery on the bottom. Well, in order to charge the battery on the bottom, you have to have this thing right here. Ouch. It's called an equalizer, that box right there. So that equalizer runs off of the upper battery. If the upper battery becomes lower than the lower battery, the lower battery will not charge. Okay, well, we hook this thing all up, that battery, or that fuse pops, and it causes an ass ache, and there you go. Well, I'm going to admit defeat for right now. Because I just don't, I put it in, I changed it. They're all hot numbers there, or hot wires there. and still blows the fuse. So there's a wire pinched someplace. Now, I'm gonna flip you around and y'all can just maybe watch dust. Yeah, that's that DCU. I got fuel in here. I don't think I needed fuel. Why are you doing that? I don't want to hit the truck, but I came pretty close. Anyway, I'm pretty good at backing up things. Yeah. So now, what I've got is a bit of a complaining combine. Alright, I'll slow that down. There's probably a filter that's getting a little funky. Holy shit. Can we just hit that there, please? There it is. A couple of green ones here and there. And if you want, okay, you can watch that. Everything seems to be functioning somewhat properly. That reel will settle in and slow down. You just got to give it a minute. These beans, what is this thing complaining about? Line disconnected, which is horse shit. I'm hoping I didn't blow another fuse someplace. The main relay open too soon. I don't understand that one. But the beans are coming in. So I'm running at about 4.2 miles an hour. These beans are, they're in the 40s, 40 bushels to the acre. They're not phenomenal. This field is usually a phenomenal field, but when you grew a crop on literally 4 inches of rain on this farm all year long, that's what you get. You don't get the 60 bushel, the 70 bushel, the 80 bushel soybean yield like you're expecting. You get thrips and aphids and two-spotted spider mites, and that's really what you end up with, and we don't like ending up with those things. At least I don't. I prefer nice weekly rain of a 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches every week, you know, just enough to keep it going. And then you get stuff like this where I'm about to get out in here, and it was either a bear or it was deer fighting in there, which could have been 2 bucks fighting. They get a little funky that way. Yeah, you do that and there you go. So this field is definitely in the 40 bushel category. I could probably look it up, but you know, I just don't feel like stopping what I'm doing and doing something else. But whoop, that was my water bottle. So I opened this field up last night in the dark, and then it started to get damp. We are very close to the Delaware River, if you didn't know. Probably right here, I'm 1.5 miles from the Delaware River. So when evening sets, if there's no breeze, that moisture will come right up over the river and head east. Well, because there's a cliff face on the other side of that, so that moist air just comes right on up in here and causes an ass ache. So I combined until about 7:30 last night, and after 7:30, it was just too wet. It started slipping the slip clutch to the feeder house, and I just didn't want to deal with that. Plus, I had company coming over, and I needed to deal with that. So, and I had a good time. I mean, it was nice. And but yeah, the quality of these soybeans just so happens to be very good. This field never had thrips, aphids, or two-spotted spider mites. It just didn't have water, and you got to have water, you know, and that just goes for everything. I'm quite pleased with the way it is going this year as far as the amount of rain that we had, because we just didn't have any. These beans were wilted so bad at one point, I just thought, well, I guess that's why they make bankruptcy court, you know, because that's about where we were headed. If we didn't get, we ended up with a 3-inch rainstorm out of one of those hurricanes that seemed to, well, it came up from Florida. Never really hit us. It just, there was another storm that it pushed and squeezed a bunch of moisture out of it. We got just about 3 inches of rain. You can go back on my videos and see exactly how much rain we got, but it wasn't anything great. You know, 1.5 inches a week. We should have gotten 6 inches of rain in July, you know, June, July, August, and the faucet shut off in June. It actually shut off in May, because it was quite easy to plant May and June. So that was it. I mean, once the moisture shut off, and then, you know, you're expecting it to turn back on, and it just never did. You know, a spit here and a spit there and a spit here and a spit there, which does not, you know, create a decent amount of grain. It just doesn't. So these beans that I have traditionally on this farm, this field, this particular field has always done very well. The other fields could be in the 60s or 50s and 60s, and this one always did 70s and 80s. I don't know why this field is so much better than all the others. It doesn't test any different. It's just the lay of the land, I guess, and that's what we end up with. This year, it says there's a short circuit. I'm almost going to have to shut this machine off and let it restart, because it's got something to do with a relay, and it's not allowing it to open up. But anyway, I don't like to go any faster than 4.5 miles an hour. I can. This combine will definitely take it. It's just that it seems to me that it'll push the beans over instead of cutting them off nice and clean, because I've got the feeder house slowed all the way down so that it won't shatter the beans in the head, and because that's what happens. The auger runs too fast, and when it hits those pins in the middle, the feeding pins, it'll just shatter it'll take the hulls, the shell, it'll shell the beans right out of the pods. And then you've got that issue. So I don't like that issue. This farm has had the cover crop flown on. That's where the big bad yellow airplane flew over. And if you look down there and you see green, it is there by design. It is not a failure in the herbicide. It is exactly what I wanted. Now, I do not generally use a residual herbicide on soybeans anymore. I alternate between glufosinate and glyphos. So it's either going to be a Roundup or it's going to be a Liberty herbicide. Generally, I'll go through with a Roundup and burn it down, and you can see every once in a while you'll see a mare's tail. Glufosinate will take mare's tail right out, no problem. So I can cut, or horseweed to some of you guys. So I really don't have a problem with spraying glufosinate to take out the horseweed or mare's tail and any other weeds. But this year, this particular farm did not warrant 2 sprays. I came in with Roundup after the beans were up, and you can see my trail, my sprayer marks where I did that, and that was just it. That was it. I didn't really do much else to this farm. And you can hear that clanking noise. That is a bolt where the feeder house chain is just touching it. We discovered it yesterday, but that was my issue. I was hoping to get this field done. It'll fit in that wagon without any problems, and we're going to put this in another spot because these beans are really clean. I got to kind of blend them with the ones that are going to the port, because the ones that are going to the port are the ones that are going to the port, I can't have purple beans in them. They don't like purple beans. So I kind of have to have nice clean beans, and then I can go to the port with those, and the purple ones can go to the mill. So these are clean, they'll go to the port. The ones that are ugly go to the mill, because the mill doesn't care. But yeah, these beans are going to average 45 bushels, that's all, which isn't bad for New Jersey. And I want to say that, and I emphasize it. On average, New Jersey soybean yield, I don't even think is 30 bushels to the acre. Average for the whole state of New Jersey. Just isn't there. And that also warrants the price of rent that's paid in New Jersey. You know, we don't pay rent on all of our ground because it just doesn't produce it doesn't produce soybeans very well because of deer and other factors. When it dries out, you're not going to have just a 15 bushel difference. You're going to have a 20, 30 bushel, 40 bushel difference. And like I said, I'm in the 40 bushel range here, and normally this field would produce 70, 65 to 85 bushels. I'm going to have to get up here and shut this off and then restart it. You know, because I think I screwed something up. To beg for forgiveness. Anyway, well, you're my wife, so you don't have to beg for forgiveness. Hey, you better hook that thing up. Go. Don't you break that. You would run it over. Anyway, kid's wild. We put soybeans in the conical bin that'll go through the dryer, and now we're moving the auger back over to the big bin because I got 2 wagon loads that need to be dumped. That's the story.
Okay.
So, yeah, you can. Is there water in this?
A little bit.
Man, I got heartburn terrible from that stinking donut.
Coffee.
Oh, donut.
That kid needs to be calmed down. Let's see how Tim back up.
Well, we'll see. It's some kind of smegma in my head. He's done it before.
He better be good at it. He's been working for how many years now?
Oh, he's 30.
So 30 years.
Well, I'll tell you what, I gotta say, I just watched a How Farms Work video. I didn't quite finish it.
Yeah.
And Ryan made a really nice video at the end.
Oh, yeah?
He's got it figured out now.
So how to back up?
Not backing up, for fuck's sake.
What?
He's got life figured out.
Oh.
Not life in general. It's life in general. You gotta be happy in that life, right?
Shh, calm down.
I should make a video in response to it because it really impressed me. He's got it figured out, and then you see these people that are just in YouTube burnout. You see, I never really wanted to make viral videos. I always wanted to just have people enjoy what I do.
Sure.
Just enjoy it. You know?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with enjoying the YouTube. already stated when I'm not having fun, I'm not doing it anymore, right?
Right.
So far, the funnest day on there. Good job, Tim. I should pat him on the back and say, "What a good job." All right. So anyway, he was talking. You have to watch the video, but he was talking about how when you're chasing a certain thing, like YouTube. You know, I did a video every day for a while, chasing those subscribers and doing that, and then it became, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
The algorithm didn't like me doing it. People did nothing but complain, whine, and bitch about how I was doing stuff. So I just decided that I would post, you know, a couple, 3 videos a week. It was pretty good. And that is where I'm comfortable.
Right.
And he was talking about meeting people that are in the grind, you know, in that, you know, I'm going to be famous on YouTube. They like the fame. But then they start losing themselves. And he was talking about family. You know, post stuff. I really, if you said, Wesley, don't do YouTube anymore because it's affecting our home life, then you know what? YouTube would go by the wayside. I don't need to be famous. I never really wanted to be famous. I find it to be kind of annoying at times. I mean, I enjoy meeting people and stuff, but, you know, to his point, he's like, why do I want to be famous? I don't want to walk down the street and just have recognition because I'm a famous farmer YouTuber. Just not going to happen. But he was talking about doing better, being a better father, or not father, he didn't say father, better husband, and a better farmer, learning what he was doing, you know, learning to be a better farmer, which is something that I've always done, YouTube or not. I've always wanted to try different things, and I think people like to see that. But I'm too old to give a fuck what everybody thinks, to be quite honest with you. I just really don't care. Right?
Right.
Do I like YouTube? Yeah, I do. Do I care if I make $50,000 a year on YouTube or $20,000 a year on YouTube? Not really. I mean, the money's nice and everything, but that's really, I didn't start YouTube for the money. I started it to really just educate people. And why is there a shit ton of smoke? You see all that smoke coming out?
I saw it.
That was weird. But, you know, you see these other people that are, you know, doing sponsors. I never did sponsors. I was offered a sponsorship here the other week. I told the guy that, yeah, I'll do it. I don't usually do this, but a friend of mine said that I should do it. I'll do it. And he said, if you don't want me to do it, you don't give me what I want, it's no skin off my ass. I don't care. You know, if you want to sell these things, that's fine. I'm going to use it, and I'm going to be honest about it. But if you don't give me what I want, I don't care about it. I don't care. I'm not doing